Welcome to another episode. This time we are going to make a full guide and playthrough in our first combat island, the Spider's Den, aka Australia. It all starts in the graveyard, a place that we explored in a previous episode. In here there is a launchpad that will lead us to this amazing island. If you don't like spiders, that might be the worst island ever, so good luck with that. And this is officially a new island that we discovered. We can say that this island is divided by 6 different zones, and there is 7 NPCs that we can talk and do some quests. By the way, in this image you can only see 5 different zones because one of them is totally underground. Actually 3 zones are underground, but we will see that later. In this image you can also check on 2 very special areas, being it just the launchpad to the next combat island, so the Nether and the End. Basically, to access those areas you need to go through this one first. At spawn there is Mitch, our first NPC, that explains a little about the island, and it also gives us a quest to collect string and a spider eye, so we need to kill 1 or 2 spiders. For reference, we are entering this island with a full golem armor and a golem sword. I think this is like the minimum armor that you should have if you want to access to every part of this island without dying. To make this quest, the first zone that we'll be exploring will be the Spider's Mound, basically the mountain that looks like a spider nest because it is a spider nest. And with just that, the quest is done and we can continue to explore this part of the island. In here we can find 6 different spiders, 5 weak ones and a stronger mini-boss that is not that strong. For reference, the mountain is this big head area. In here we can find the splitter spider that when we kill it, it divides itself into 2 silverfish. The spider jockey that has a skeleton mounted on it that will shoot arrows like a low-cost machine gun. The weaver spider that will shoot webs at you, dealing damage and making you slower. The dasher spider that will just launch towards yourself all the time. This would be terrifying in real life. And then the Voracious Spider, that is the normal spider, just deals a little more damage. And I will talk about the Broodmother later because it's a mini-boss and has like a special item that we want. Going back to exploring the island, the second place that we want to explore is this little outpost in the top of a hill, located in the other side of the island, as you can see on the image. To go to this place you need to make some parkour first, until you reach Grandma's house. Why is she in the middle of spiders? I have no clue. In the entrance we can find this guy who will introduce us to a new mechanic in the game. That new mechanic is Bestiaries. We can access to the Bestiaries in the combat skill level in this book. The Bestiaries have 2 objectives. First, we can check the info about every mob that exists in the entire game. For example, first I select an island that I already explored, like the Deep Caverns, then I select the mob that I want to know more about, and we can see how many times we killed the mob and all the drops that this mob can get, and for me this is really useful. And then the second objective is a collection that makes sense. The more times we kill a mob, the stronger we get against that specific mob. You can see that in this case, when I kill 3000 pigmen, I will win all of these perks against him, and that's it. I would say that this is an endgame mechanic because if you have nothing else to do, you have this, just killing thousands of each mob because you can. There is also a level that will give you some permanent stats that you need to claim, so don't forget that. Going to the inside of this house, you will find Shaggy, who will first tell you that you need to find and kill a very special spider. You will also find Grandma Wolf, that I am almost sure that this is a reference to that kid's story, The Little Red Riding Hood. I think that's how you say it in English. She will casually gift you a pet, the Grandma Wolf pet, and another one for our collection. Some people say that this pet is the best for starter players because it gives you a bunch of strength and magic find. I could also say that I bought the tiger pet from the zookeeper recently just because I can and to maintain you guys updated. Going back to the island, there is 2 mobs that are not spiders that we can find here, the gravel skeleton and the rain slime. Both of them are not needed for progress, they don't have any special drops. I would say they are just for the bestiaries that we talked before. Actually, the slime has a trick. They only spawn when it's raining, and then when there is a thunderstorm, so rain with lightning, there is a special slime that can spawn and it drops an item that will be needed for later in this episode. If you explore a little more the island, you will find a cave that will lead us to the gravel mines. In this place, you'll find a tick that will ask you to give him some iron to fix a shovel. I picked some iron for him, and in return we received the promising shovel that the more blocks we break, the faster it gets. In this place, we can also unlock a new collection, the gravel one, and we can also farm like a bunch of it. After all, it's the gravel mines. And then we have the scariest part of this island, a single cave where the stronger spiders live, and it's a massive underground spider's nest, making it sound like an horror movie. In here spiders are everywhere, and it also becomes annoying because they are always spawning and trying to attack you. In here we can fight a boss, the Arachne, and then we have the Arachne's brood that is like the boss protector, so if we want to fight the boss we need to fight them also, and then the Arachne's keeper that drops an item needed to spawn this boss. It's obvious to say that these 3 spiders are the strongest in the entire island, so we need to be careful and we will die a bunch of times for them. For me, it is safe to say that all of the spiders are useless except these 3 ones, because all of them have very special drops that we want. The first one will drop the spider talisman when killed, reducing the damage of spiders by 5%, so we want that. Then the Arachne's boss can drop a bunch of items. We can get a new set of armor, the Arachne's armor, that is going to be our next upgrade. Then the Arachne, that is a new sword that is worse than the one we are currently using. Then the Arachne Fang, that is an item only used to upgrade the vaccine talisman that we already have. Then the Luxurious Spool, that when we get 9 of these we can go to the Archaeologist to unlock a new tag. I talked about this in the last episode, I think. And then we can get Soul String and the Dark Queen Soul, that they are items used for a bunch of recipes related to bows. So a lot to understand, but with the rest of the video for sure you will learn everything easily. And finally we have the Arachne Keeper that drops a fragment to spawn the Arachne boss, and then it also drops 4 new pieces of armor that we never saw before. Remember the armor that we get by defeating the boss? Well, that armor is not complete because in Hypixel some armors have some extra pieces, and by killing this spider we can get those 4 pieces, and that's where we are going to start our adventure from now. So when I killed my first Arachne's Keepers I got some fragments and already 2 pieces of the armor that I need. The odds of getting a single one are around 2-3%. So I would say I am very lucky. To equip these special armor pieces we need to go to this area on the menu, and close to our current armor there is some slots where I can place them. Talking a little about the armor, it is a little weaker than the one we are using unless we have all 8 pieces, because when we complete it, it gives extra 100 defense and health, making it stronger, so it's an upgrade when we have everything. If we explore a little more the cave, we will finally reach the place where we can spawn the boss, the Arachne's Sanctuary. In this place, people are always fighting the boss because it is a great source of money. As you know, there is a lot of drops, and the more drops we get, the more money we make, so I decided to join this fight. The good thing is that to participate and get drops, we only need to hit the boss once, so after our first fight, I already got some drops even though I barely made damage. This boss is supposed to be defeated by a lot of players, and not only by myself. I will explain why that later once I start explaining all of the mechanics related to this fight, but for now I will just enjoy all of this free loot because I was lucky with the lobby. In this area we also can find the Spider Tamer, a really useful NPC. When killing the boss, we receive something called Spider Essence that is going to be really useful for us. With it in this NPC we can increase the damage that we make to spiders, and we can also increase the defense against them. And while in this area, on the screen it will appear how much Spider Essence you have currently. Just to finish the collection thing, the last area that we need to explore is the Archaeologist's camp, and with it a guy that will give us a quest to find 26 relics in the island. He also gave us a compass that will just point to the closest relic, so it's a helpful thing. From killing the boss with other players we got all of these drops, so yeah, it's a good thing. The first thing that we can do with all of the drops is unlock a new tag that I explained before. It gives us a bunch of critical damage, but not really useful for all of us. Then I started the new sword in the museum. By the way, this sword makes 90 damage and then gives us 100 extra strength if we are poisoned, and that almost never happens, so our golem sword is still better. Then I sold all of the repeated pieces of armor because I don't need 20 of the same set. From all of the drops we can get, I would say that we already got almost everything that we need. But don't forget that this was achieved only because I played from some hours straight, so it's not that easy as you might think. There is also a bunch of bows that we cannot still craft because we still need some of the other drops. Actually, I still need a bunch of resources. Just to make a small break from the Spider Island, I went back at home and started to make a setup for all of the minions that we can craft after exploring it. So we could craft the Spider Minion, we could also make the Cave Spider Minion, basically the same thing, just different spiders. I already had a bunch of resources from the boss fight, so I could upgrade the minions a lot. Because of the string collection, I also unlocked the quiver, a place where we can place arrows. I could also craft now a really good tool for movement, that being the grappling hook. This tool will allow us to make parkour and travel a lot faster, and this might be the best upgrade ever because it's really fun. And the last minion that we could craft is the gravel minion, because we unlocked that resource and now we can finally update our minion collection. And this is finally starting to look like a decent collection. Going back to the spider stuff, we still need to get some drops, including finding the Broodmother and get a spider talisman. This should be more easy than it sounds. To find this spider, there is actually a trick. We first need to go to the top of this mountain. To be honest, it's a little tricky to get to the top, but not impossible. And when we reach the top, we're gonna have on our menu a new keyword calling the Broodmother and telling when it's going to spawn. Fun fact, each keyword represents how much time is left for the special spider to spawn. Actually, while on this island, if you go to the player's menu, you can see also how much time is left for it to spawn, without being in the top of the mountain. And after a while, and when it spawns, it's not really an hard fight, you just need to be careful, because when it dies, it will spawn a bunch of poison spiders. In my case, this fight was catastrophic, I just threw myself off the mountain. But yeah, we finally got the spider talisman, so a new one for our collection. All is missing now is get all of the pieces to use the new armor and get some of these fangs to upgrade a talisman. If you notice on the menu, we got a quest to find hidden relics, related to the archaeologist thing, being this like the last quest we need to do. And this was my first relic, and they are going to be in the most stupid places ever. It's going to be so annoying to get them all. First, to get some of them, you will need ender pearls to enter some small spaces, and sometimes you will suffocate inside the walls because Hypixel likes being Hypixel. Others will be in annoying places with the gear that I currently have, and you need to do like a trick shot. But yeah, I needed a lot of ender pearls, and that's something we still don't have because we did not get to the end island yet. My only way of getting them was killing endermans in my private island. So I decided to make a platform for the mobs to spawn, and I could kill them from distance like this. Going back to the cave, I wanted to finish the armor by getting these small pieces that I was still missing. It was a little hard because these special spiders only had 9 different spawns that I had to memorize and go to the pathway all over and over again. But yeah, we finally have the full set of armor with the 8 pieces, and it's an upgrade to our current one. First I had to enchant everything to the max level I could, put the armor on the museum for collection, and retire finally our old armor. I was definitely stronger, but still not strong enough to fight the boss by myself. By now we got every item already, so everything we got is repeated, and we could transfer it to Spider Essence instead of selling it. For me, this is better because we can upgrade our stats against spiders. To spawn the boss, we need to put like the fragments in the corners just like this. Then the boss spawns, and when it reaches half of his HP, it will spawn a bunch of poison spiders. And this is the part where the fight is really, but really hard for everyone. And then when you kill the boss, you will get in its place all of the items that it could drop. And then when you are ready, just repeat the process and wait for the spider to spawn again. I should now tell you that I have been lying to you. There is actually 2 bosses that we can spawn in this area, the easy and the hard Arachne. And we have been now spawning the easy one and still dying. The only difference is the amount of HP, and the drops are not exactly the same. To spawn the hard version, we need first to get this special fragment from killing the easy one. And when I started the video, I think the nerds were fighting the hardest version. As you can see on the altar, there is a different item. One trick for you not to get poison is to craft a very simple helmet, a cow head that removes every effect from you, including poison. My problem with the boss is that if I am full spider armor, I make enough damage, but I die because of poison after a while. If I have the cow head, the armor is weak and I die from regular damage. In this case with the cow head, the fight looked easy. I did not get poisoned, but I got one-shotted because I didn't have enough defense. So I need better items to be able to fight the boss by myself. If I cannot find them in the Spider Island, that is pretty much finished. What about checking it on the Slayers, the Spider Slayer? We introduced Slayers on a previous episode, but basically I need to spawn a boss spider by killing their goons, and once we defeat the boss level 1, we can now fight the level 2 and we unlock new recipes that can be very useful for us. For example, we can now craft the Recluse Fang, an insane sword to kill spiders, and just spiders. The more we kill, the more strength the weapon gets, with a limit of 370 extra strength, making it like the best weapon that we can get, but only against spiders. We can also now upgrade the spider talisman that we got before to a ring, making it better. So I just need to kill enough bosses to have all of the resources needed to make those small upgrades. I started by crafting the spider ring that reduces the damage from spiders. We should upgrade upgrade our talisman thingy, and to craft the sword we need to be lucky and drop the spider catalyst, that the odds of getting one are around 2% by killing the Slayer boss, so we need to be lucky. I was able to kill the boss by myself until level 3. The fight itself was extremely close because if you don't pay attention, there is a time limit to kill the Slayers. My defense was perfect, but I had to do more damage, but still I was able to defeat him. In the Slayers there is also a hidden feature where you can select the rare drop that you want. The more times you kill the boss, the higher the odds of getting the drop. So I just had to select the spider catalyst in this menu and pray for the best. And after killing this damn spider an unhealthy amount of times, I finally got the spider catalyst, the special drop that we are looking for. Now we have to go to the museum to pick the spider sword that you can get from one of the NPCs at spawn, and then I could craft this beautiful sword that the only finality is to murder spiders. And as always, you need to put all of the enchants possible in the sword to make it as strong as we can. For now the sword is still weak, and to achieve its full potential we need to kill around 15,000 spiders. Of course that's something that will be done over time by itself. In this island, when you kill any spider, including the bosses, there is a possibility of you getting the tarantula pet, but the odds are so low that I wouldn't mention unless I got it. But guess what? I didn't get one, but I got 2 legendary tarantula pets. The only pet you can get on this island, and it's another one for our collection. Because I farmed some mushrooms in our garden island, and with the drops from all of the boss fights, I could craft a really good bow. We still didn't have any that was usable. I could now also upgrade it, and it did the same damage or even more damage than my current weapon. In the mine island, we could buy arrows in a place that we explored before, if you remember in a previous episode. And every arrows that you buy, they will go directly to the quiver that is full, and it is a really useful feature. But of course using launch ranged weapons in this boss fight would be broken, so these spiders are immune to projectiles like arrows and even immune to a bunch of abilities. That's why this fight is harder than it's supposed to be. For this fight we don't need to make more damage, we just need to have more defense, and for that we will need to craft the tarantula armor that we could find in the Slayer's spider. But that's for a future episode. I should also mention that the spider boss is great for money because these items, the soul string, give us so much coins, like millions of coins, in a space of just some hours or even less. Now that you reached almost the end of this video, I should tell you a crazy little trick. To fight this boss, even if you are weak, if you go to these cobwebs when the boss spawns all the poison spiders, you can kill them without taking any damage for some stupid reason. Doing this trick, I managed to kill the boss all by myself, and that's pretty neat. I think I'm now chilling with the spiders because they are scared of me or something. For me to get stronger, I could now craft a bunch of talismans that I missed by mistake, including this one that gives me night vision, and with that the videos will get better quality because they will never get dark spots. I could also craft this one that increases my item pickup range, then this one that gives me coins like every minute, then this one that is a little weird but simply makes you stronger the closer you are to the spawn of that island. I should also mention that when I post this video there will be an event that you can buy 2 talismans, the Dent Ring, a reference to an old Skyblock event, and the Blood God Crest, a reference to Technoblade that the more enemies you kill, the more strength you get. Remember this drop from the boss and the only one that we still did not use? Well, I upgraded my vaccine talisman that we got in a previous video to a vaccine ring using it. That is the only purpose of that item. And then I mentioned that the slimes had a special drop. This drop was a little hard to get, but after a week I could finally upgrade the vaccine ring to the vaccine artifact, reducing poison damage by 50%, being this like really useful for our boss fight. Right now I should upgrade our talisman spreadsheet because we actually got a bunch of new talismans. I just hope I don't forget any because it was a bunch of them. I should also mention that after a week I got all of the artifacts, some of them were almost impossible to get, but at least we made the quest. Kinda awkward, but yeah, to fight the hard version of the Arachne, we need to make the Arachne crystal like this. Just give some resources to this guy and he will give us the crystal that we can spawn the boss with it. To finish this spider video, why not to craft the spider pet? A lot of resources, but this pet is better than the tarantula pet that we got. The spider pet has the ability to give you some extra strength for each arachnal item that you have. And what is that, you may ask? If you notice, all of the items that we have been crafting have a red tag telling arachnal. For example, each piece of armor alone is giving us strength with this pet, so we get a bunch of extra strength, making us really, but really strong. Before this upgrade to kill this boss, I had like 10 seconds left in the clock, but now we have over a minute because the damage that we make per second is a lot higher. And I think that's all for today. Probably one of my favorite episodes until now. We finished everything we had to do in the Spider Island, including all the quests and all of the items we could get, so thank you and see you next week. A 20 minutes video, that's a record. I literally killed myself just to make this video in time for this week. Too much editing. Next time, I think we are going to enter on fairy souls and the wilderness and why not?